So for my birthday morning, I decided, obviously, to go fishing, but I decided to pull out my little 2-weight and only brought a box capable of carrying about a half a dozen flies. I have no nymphing rig. I'm the minimalist today, and just decided, since we are, oh, that was a big fish, holy crap. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna just mellow out for a second. That guy had super broad sides, and I don't think he touched the fly. There he goes. Oh my gosh, he has gone twice. And he hasn't hit the fly either time, which is kind of a rejection, but at the same time, I believe we're going to catch him. All right, so what I did is I pulled in my fly, put it in the dryer, redressed it, so he's had time to think about and regret his decision not to take the fly on his first 2 chances. But I didn't move a step, and so unless that fish moved on to greener pastures, I might have another shot at him. It's one of the beauties of fly fishing, especially like this with super light gear and being the minimalist. It's incredible how laser focused we can get on our sport. It's like I just go into kind of almost a trance that I am not thinking about anything other than making the best drift I can to a target who already showed himself to me. Not once, but twice. Yeah, this 2-weight feels really cool in my hands. It's almost like a good comparison would be kind of like if you've been fishing with graphite rods and then all of a sudden you pick up a bamboo. Going from a 6-weight to a 2-weight, that's actually a pretty good comparison or analogy. Ooh, that's a good line right there. Come on, bud. All right, so now I'm going to shift my focus from that one particular fish. I'm going to go back to my usual approach of working the water a few steps at a time, starting with a super shallow inside edge, closer to the bank where these salmon flies are crawling around. Took some awesome pictures yesterday that hopefully, if I remember to, I'll put in this video of some adult salmon flies or some nymphs on the side of a big old rock. About midway through our drift, we pulled over and anchored, and I pointed out to my friend D, I said, there you go. I've been telling you all about how the salmon fly or stone fly's life cycle works. There it is right in front of your eyes. Several big, clearly salmon flies were crawled out of the water into or up onto the side, the sunny side of a rock. And were drying themselves out and getting ready to break out of their shell casings. And it was right there, right before our eyes. Ooh, what happened there? Ooh, I like that line out there. In fact, I'm gonna mend that, and I think that'll take my fly kind of right through that big guy's territory. Just leave it in the water until it sinks, because I've seen it all. I've seen, especially these cutties, I've seen them take flies at under all different conditions. It's one thing I constantly remind myself. Fly fishermen are kind of famous for wanting the perfect drift, and it's neat when it happens, but that's not really the point, or what the point is supposed to be. If your fly is in the water, I don't care if it's floating perfect, or if it's sunk, or if it's dragging, or if it's dead drifting, or whatever. It's simple logic that if it's in the water, it might catch a fish. If it's in the air, no chance. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the tape, and I'm going to add a little lighter, longer tippet. Oh, there's another big one that rose up there. Yeah, they're definitely looking at something smaller, but that doesn't change the fact that we are in salmon fly season, and there are just a few salmon flies around versus the thousands of little midges or little mayflies that they can gorge on. So it's not as if I'm going to change down to some very small midge pattern like a gnat, a Griffith's gnat, or something else. I'm going to keep chucking this big old salmon fly and tempt them to take the opportunity for a full meal instead of doing all that work for a light bite. And the water is clear enough now and has receded far enough that I feel like I'm being a lot stealthier as far as my, well, for one thing, fishing a 2-weight. Longer leader, and just the way I'm moving up the bank, I'm just taking teeny weeny little steps every once in a while and not just marching right up to the top of the hole like I could get away with when the water was higher and muddier. This river is absolutely, oh my God. Okay, so I don't know if that fish's flash will appear on the camera, but as I was casting, just blind casting to a nice seam, a good sized broad-sided fish came up right where my fly landed. So he couldn't have taken it because it was still in the air when he was taking a bite of a natural fly. Oh, I like that spot close to the bank. What's cool when they take the fly this close to you with polarized glasses on is you get to see their whole move. They kind of just appear out of the depths, and next thing you know, they've engulfed your fly. And I think anybody that really is into dry fly fishing will agree that that is the coolest thing in all of fly fishing, is to be able to, okay, so we had a nipper. Now that's interesting because that's the third time I've had a fish come up and kind of whack at it, but not actually commit to it. And I'm watching a riser right in front of me. He's working pretty hard, feeding on either emergers, which would be another small fly of a mayfly sort. But yeah, this is cool. It's interesting to me that these guys that are actively feeding are not just jumping at the chance to take this particular salmon fly pattern. Oh, that's another soft take. Wow. It's like they're half-assing when they come up to my fly. It's like they're kind of half-ass taking it. Oh, there was another look and another swirl. That guy even followed the fly for a while and decided no. The fish I've been lucky enough to see today are all bigger. So my theory holds water that a lot of these big fish just within the last few days came back down out of their feeder streams after spawning. Oh, that's a good fish. Holy shit. I watched that whole thing happen, and I'm on a 2-weight and he is gone. He is going to be running free. Now I'm going to try and get him on the reel here. Oh yeah, he's on the reel. That was one of those cool ones I was talking about. Yeah, that's a nice cutty. Not as big as I thought it was, but awesome. I get the feeling he's going to take a run on me. And I got to remind myself that I'm only fishing 5X now. And even though I'm fishing my 2-weight rod, no horsing. Oh man. Oh shit, my camera looks like it's off angle. Oh well, we probably got the better part of that. I still feel like he's about to go on a run. Yeah, there's a little mini run. Whoa. They dropped the net. Alright. See, now I got the camera too low. Holy shit. That's not like me to screw up the camera angles. He's strong, and he's like I said the other day, there's still enough water in the river that they use it to their advantage, no doubt about it. They just kind of bulldog, get their head down and make it hard to pick it up. There we go. All right, get it out of your system. You're going back. Oh, fly's already out. Only reason it didn't come out of the net is my little plastic eyes. All right, let's have some fun with this guy before we make the release. There we go. Look at that. Can't tell if I'm a good camera spot or not, but here he goes. Probably a 16-incher. Sweet. Now here's another tip. That, especially with fly line that has aged a little bit, and I don't know if the camera picks up on the little cracks that develop, but when I noticed that the end of my fly line right before my leader is tending to sink a little bit. That's what I still use this gink for, is I'll rub it between my fingers. I haven't tied on my new salmon fly imitation yet, but I will just run as far as my wingspan goes with this stuff, gink or gunk. It's called gink, but I'm actually dressing my line. And in the old days of fly fishing, that's the only way they got line to float, because it was made out of leather, which once it gets saturated with water, it sinks. But this floating fly line obviously floats because of the technological advancement, but sometimes even it develops little cracks that allow water inside of it, which makes it waterlogged. And then when I take the rest of this gink and I rub my leader all the way from the butt section down, every section, and you know, in the years since I went to a two-step process of dressing my fly, it's really all I use gink or one of its competitors. That's really all I use it for, is dressing my leader and my line.